Good morning, Awaken Takers. What is going on? It is Tuesday, November 11th. 11-11, week 11 prep starts on 11-11. Can you think of anything better than that? I can't. It's all lining up. That's why I'm talking about we gotta make our wish, guys. We gotta make our wish. It's time for week 11 to get rolling. It is time for us to keep the playoff push going for those teams that are climbing from the bottom. It's time for those first and second place teams to go ahead and solidify and fortify their roster so that way they can hold on to that bye week and they can go ahead and be ready to roll once the fantasy playoffs come. We got what? Week 11, 12, 13, 14. We got 4 weeks left. 4 weeks left of the regular season, and all of a sudden you got your 15, 16, 17 fantasy playoffs, and then it's going to be going like that, guys. It's going by way too fast. It's going by way too fast. I know some of you guys are probably thinking the opposite. You're thinking like, oh my God, just end the season. The injuries are too much. It's all too much, but it's not. It's never too much. Everyone's dealing with it. Everyone's going through it. So welcome in. That's why we're here today to go ahead and discuss what the hell's going on. Who's coming back from injury? Who got injured? Whose situation is completely changing? And we're going to go ahead and have fun with it. Because why not? It's fantasy football. It's a game. It's a game about a game. So let's have fun with it. Good morning, Happy Hudson. Welcome in. Cheers to you. Appreciate you being in here as always. I'm gonna go ahead and take a good sip because it's been a weird morning. It's been just a strange morning. It probably started because of the fact that it's in Florida. It woke up, it was 30-something degrees outside, and I get it. I've lived in Detroit. I know that that's not really cold. That's not real cold, but I've been in Florida for so long now that's cold. I got 2 small kids that don't know what cold is, and they were like, "What is this?" And so, had to navigate those waters this morning. Had to navigate a bunch of crazy waters this morning to just get here today with you guys, and I appreciate you joining me. I'm gonna go ahead and take that sip now that I talked about it. But as always, make sure that you are dialed into the Player Profiler Now Plus YouTube channel, the Twitter, the TikToks. Make sure that you're dialed in on all those places so that we can keep up with the content no matter where it's at, no matter what day, no matter who it is. You're keeping up with everything. Make sure that you are subscribed here right on YouTube. And make sure that you're liking this video. If you're in here right now, go ahead and hit the like button for me. I appreciate that. And then also be sure to follow me on Twitter at @JOwens_FF. I post my rankings there every week right before on Saturday. Repost them on Sunday. I keep my ranks over there. I bring you guys my start sits here on Thursdays, and right now, today, Tuesday, we're going to go over what happened in week 10. Also be sure, over on TikTok, I do have the short form over there, and I did not get to do the Sunday Throne Room Live this week, but planning on bringing that back for week 11 here over on TikTok at @JOwensFF. Appreciate y'all as always, but there is so much to go over that I just don't even feel like I need to beat around the bush anymore. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. We did have a Monday Night Football game last night, and it was boring. It was one of the ugliest games out there. I mean, honestly, could have called it. We've seen Philadelphia struggle offensively all season. They've had like 1 or 2 games where they lit up the scoreboard, and everything else has just been mid. It's been a very tough to watch offense. And then they're going up against Green Bay, was another tough to watch offense, a very slow-paced offense, and that's exactly what we got. We got nothing but slow, ugly defensive football. And, I mean, if you're a defense enthusiast, I'm sure you love that freezing cold game in Lambeau Field. No snow to make it pretty, but still just that was the type of game that it was. But not a ton of fantasy points going around here, except if you had Josh Jacobs or Devonta Smith. Both those guys got the only touchdowns in the game. Jacobs just continues to be Josh Jacobs. I mean, what is he right now? RB5 on the year. And that's no surprise. He is the focal point of this offense. No matter how many ancillary passing pieces they have on this team, it's always been Josh Jacobs that drives this team. And unfortunately, Jordan Love couldn't get him enough help to finish it off. Jordan Love, 176 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, and a fumble lost. So ugly game for Jordan Love. He has been just a constant fade for me. Like he's had two blow up games based off of 3 touchdown passes. So if he doesn't get the touchdown passes, he's not good. And the passes aren't going to be consistent because they have a guy like Josh Jacobs who can punch it in from the goal line. He can take it in from 20 out. He can do a little bit of everything. So Jordan Love continues to be a perma fade for me, especially going up against any type of strong defense or weak offense, because it's just not there. Jordan Love he's not it. He's not it. Never has been, never will be. And that's not just the biased Lions fan in me talking. I get it. He'll play great against the Lions. He does that. Everybody seems to play their best. All the NFC North teams apparently play their best when it's against the Lions. But again, Devonta Smith on the flip side for the Philadelphia Eagles, 7 targets, very much leading the team by far. 4 catches, 69 yards, and the lone touchdown for the Philadelphia Eagles. And A.J. Brown, right back at the bottom again. 13 yards on 3 targets. It's just the woes continue, and the highs aren't even high enough to make it worth it this year. Normally, you see the lows be the floor is higher typically with A.J. Brown, and the ceiling is higher. This year, it's just everything's dropped down a peg. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the off season with this offense. Something needs to change with this offense. The defense is great. The defense is good. It is very, very good. They're getting healthy. Everything's going well, but this offense is just a problem. This offense is wildly inconsistent, and once they get to the playoffs, if they aren't clicking, if they aren't operating and firing on all cylinders, it's going to be tough for the Philadelphia Eagles to repeat this year. There's a lot of good teams out there in the NFC nowadays. We got the Lions, we got the Rams, Seattle, Tampa. It's a competitive year this year, so Philly's really going to have to step it up offensively if they want to compete this year. And Green Bay's watching it slip away a little bit. I mean, even the Bears. Even the Bears are better than the Packers according to the record right now, but we'll look for them to get it back on track. The Packers get the Giants next week, who might not have Jackson Dart, and a team that is falling apart day by day, and then they get Minnesota, and then we get the rematch Thanksgiving, week 13 against Detroit. So a couple fluffers in there, and then Detroit coming in on Thanksgiving, and then on the Philly side, they don't get any break right now. They go right from this tough game into taking on Detroit at home, but then they get go ahead and they get Dallas, Chicago, and then they're back Chargers. So the Eagles are going to have an opportunity to get the offense right. They're going to have to again. They just have to. But we'll see how it goes. Going to go ahead and jump into the news here. Like I said, got a ton of news. There was a lot of injuries, a lot of things going on, and I'm just going to start with the elephant in the room. Brian Daboll, New York Giants former head coach now, fired. He is out, and a lot of people are speculating it's not just because of the blown leads. It's not just because of the fact that his record is 20-40 over the course of 4 seasons. It is because he has been putting Jackson Dart at risk. The franchise quarterback that he pounded the table for, that he made a push to get, he wanted him in the top 10. He wanted Jackson Dart in the top 10. Got him a little bit later. It all worked out in the end, but Daboll knew. We all saw Daboll peeking into the blue tent on one of a couple weeks ago when Dart was in there getting examined for a concussion. We saw him in there, and Daboll knew that his only chance of holding on to this job was Jackson Dart, especially after Scadaboo goes down, especially after Neighbors goes down. It was Jackson Dart that was going to have to carry this just terrible, beaten-up team and keep Daboll's job. Clearly, that's not the case, as Jackson Dart left the game this week with another concussion check, and we're just waiting to see now if he's able to get through protocol, if he's able to come back for week 11 here. But in terms of Brian Daboll being out, I think that this is the beginning of the end it's the end of the end. I don't even know what it is for New York at this point, but it's a little bit shocking to see just Daboll go and not the GM as well. We'll see what the offseason brings, but from everything that I've been reading, the GM is going to be involved in the next coach hiring process. So it does not sound like he is on his way out, even though there's a lot of people, New York fans, that are saying just clean house to start over. Does not seem like that is going to be the case. But in terms of this season for fantasy football, I think that we may see Jackson Dart be a little bit more protected. Daboll was going full DGAF to keep his job, and the interim coach is the offensive coordinator. He's going to come in, and he might be the long-term solution. So he's obviously going to want to put his best foot forward, and that is going to be with Jackson Dart. But he also did just see Daboll get fired because he was just letting Dart ram himself headfirst into every wall that he saw. So we may see a little bit less rushing out of Dart when he comes back if he does miss time with the concussion. That is going to be interesting. And if Dart does miss time, honestly, we might see Jameis Winston. Russ has come in twice now and been a factor in blowing a lead. Once against Denver and then once here against Chicago. It just seems to be a recurring theme where Russ just can't. Russ is cooked. Russ is done. Like everyone said, let Russ cook. Russ is cooked himself. So we may see Jameis Winston come in, but it might be too little too late because, I mean, what do we got? We got Darius Slayton and we got Wan'Dale Robinson. Theo Johnson looking pretty good, but if we do see Jameis Winston out there, those guys will be fun to see, but I don't know if it's trustworthy enough. I don't think that they're talented enough guys to really be fully elevated. Obviously, if Jameis is in there, we should see high volume and just like the full DGAF experience of Jameis Winston where the boom is there, but it's just going to be, I feel like it's going to be inconsistent. As I said already, Jackson Dart evaluated again for a concussion, his fourth time this season being evaluated. And the status is up in the air right now for week 11. We're going to keep an eye on that as we roll through the week. A couple more notes and news here. Oronde Gadsden left the Sunday Night Football game early with a knee injury scare. He collided knees with another player, and everyone was full panic mode at the beginning where it was like, oh my God, like MCL something, like some type of ligament damage. But for right now, he has been ruled day-to-day with a quad bruise. That sounds like something that can be played through with pain management, but we'll see as the week goes on what his practice involvement looks like and just kind of listening to what the sentiment is around Gadsden this week. Obviously, it's Harbaugh as the coach, so God knows what kind of truth we're going to get out of it. I mean, that's Harbaugh for you. He's never going to be honest. He's just always going to be coy. But we'll keep an eye on it. Gadsden has been a savior to many rosters that did not have one of the top tight ends. And hopefully he can continue to do that. If not, we will have to be scraping the bottom of the barrel because we also had another tight end injury with Dalton Kincaid. This one is a bit more serious. He is listed as week to week with a hamstring injury, and you don't like to see that. The tight end injuries, they just keep coming. I mean, we've had Waller go down. We've had Kraft go down. We've had just Kittle was down for a while. We had Bowers out for a while. We just had no luck at the tight end position, and everyone outside of like the top 4 or 5 have just been a crapshoot of who catches a tight end or a touchdown this week. And there's no consistency. Dalton Kincaid was one of the most consistent guys out there because he, although was consistently not on the field often, when he was on the field, he was consistently getting targets. And that's what you like to see. But again, with him being out, Dawson Knox does become a little bit of an interesting target here. He has been kind of splitting time with, who is it? Jackson Hawes. Dawson Knox has been around 40 to 50% consistently. He's had a couple spikes where in week 6 when Dalton Kincaid was out, Knox was up to 80%. And then this week with Kincaid leaving earlier, Knox was up to 68%, 67, like around 70%, and Hawes was down at 43%. So we could see Knox get a little bit more targets here. But I don't know if it's with Hawes being here and kind of showing and getting targets himself. It might not be just a one-for-one swap here. We've seen Knox perform well in this offense, but the way that the offense is operating now, it just seems like it's not going to be like the tight end of the past with Dawson Knox. But still, obviously, a ton of injuries here at the tight end position could very much be someone that you have to pick up and maybe have to start if you're missing a Kincaid. If Gadsden does miss time, you might just have to go with a guy like Knox. So something to keep an eye on there as well. Again, week to week means he's for sure missing week 11, and we will wait to see when he comes back. But week to week with a hamstring is never good to see, especially for a guy who's relying on yak and big plays. It's going to be tough to trust Kincaid even when he does come back. It might just be hopefully he gets rested up for the NFL playoffs here. We have some more injury news about guys that are missing. We got Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels both ruled out for week 11. That's not really a surprise. We kind of knew that this was going to be the situation. Daniels is expecting to make a return. He's getting reassessed in, I think it was 3 weeks from now. It might be 2 weeks from now. I'm not sure what that timeline exactly was. But they are, Daniels was going and getting multiple opinions from multiple doctors to try to come back as quickly as he can. I think it might be too little too late for the Washington Commanders season. This team just isn't what they were last year. Daniels was the driving force, and he has just not been able to stay on the field this year between the hamstring and now the dislocated elbow. Hopefully, they just make the best decision for his future. For us dynasty players, we are looking to the future with Daniels. I don't expect him to make a return this year. I just don't see it. I don't see Washington rushing him back. I know he wants to. I know he wants to go out there and battle with his brothers, but it's just not. It's not the right move in my opinion at this point. Paul Vo, good morning. Good morning. How are we doing? Welcome in. And then on Terry McLaurin's side, this is something that we knew. He had the I believe it was the quad injury for McLaurin, and that's just been something that's been bothering him all season. He came back re-injured, and the re-injury was apparently worse than the initial injury. So it took him about 4 weeks to come back the first time. I would expect another 3, 4, 5 weeks this time around. And even then, when he comes back, I don't think I can trust him, especially if it's Marcus Mariota and not Jaden Daniels. So it seems like a just complete lost season here for Terry McLaurin. After all the contract dispute, after all of the posturing and everything, we come and we just get a lost season for McLaurin. I hate to see that for the guy as a human and as a player. I hate to see it. And in terms of fantasy, it crushes your fantasy team. That's a 4th, 5th round pick that just kind of turned into absolutely nothing here. But that's fantasy football for you. You know, that is what it is. Let's flip over to some guys that are starting to come back. We've got some IR windows starting to open. Yeah, we'll get to that later. But Joe Burrow, most notably, is the window that has opened, and that is a big window. That is a glorious, sunny, just like what's going on behind me. The sun is wild today, and that's those are the Joe Burrow windows. That's the IR window opening for Joe Burrow here. He is back at practice yesterday, and he is targeting a Week 13 return. So we're not expecting to see him back this week. We got at least Week 11 with Joe Flacco, potentially Week 12, but the way it seems like they're really trying to slow roll it. And I mean, Joe Flacco is doing Joe Flacco and this offense are not really the problem here. Like, it's not like Joe Flacco's playing bad and he's costing Cincinnati games and like they need Joe Burrow back to take over so they can complete the playoff push. No, it's the defense. So even if Joe Burrow rushes back, it's not he's not going to be the savior. He's not going to be like he can be. He's obviously better than Joe Flacco, but really the problem with this team is the defense. So hopefully Joe Flacco can keep the playoff hopes alive with 2 wins here in Week 11 and Week 12. And Week 13, we see Joe Burrow come back and just complete the fantasy Phoenix rebirth of the Cincinnati Bengals. We had such high hopes. We were flying high with the Bengals. It was the Bengals and the Cowboys in the offseason. Go get them. Good offenses, bad defenses, and then all of a sudden Joe Burrow goes down and we are just stuck in the basement with Jake Browning for a couple weeks. And then Joe Flacco comes and he brings life to this team. And now, like I said, we can see Joe Burrow come back Week 13 and just complete the full Phoenix rebirth here for the Cincinnati Bengals fantasy hopes and dreams with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Joe Burrow himself. We could see it come full circle, and this Cincinnati Bengals team could be a group of league winners in fantasy football. We don't know. Very much could be. Could be exciting here. I mean, Joe Burrow's not going to come back unless he's ready. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, this isn't a situation where he's going to rush back. He's been doing what he needs to do to get back full health. And like I said, Joe Flacco's been a perfectly fine stand-in. The problem is the defense, but that's not a problem for us in fantasy football here. Another IR window opening is Brenton Strange, the tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And with all the injuries to the tight ends and all the injuries within Jacksonville themselves, Brian Thomas Jr. missed last week. Travis Hunter's still on IR. We could see Strange come back and get into his pre-injury form, which wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't anything flashy, but it was 6 targets per game at the tight end position. So it is an interesting name to keep an eye on. If you do need a tight end, if you have Dalton Kincaid, if you lost Tucker Kraft, if you are literally trying to piece it together at tight end week to week, Brenton Strange is an interesting name to keep an eye on. He might be coming back this week. He might be coming back next week. And honestly, the ball has to go somewhere in Jacksonville. Brian Thomas, we're not sure how long he's going to be missing, and he's just looked off. Obviously, Jacoby Myers comes in. But like I said, when Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter were both on the field, Brenton Strange was getting 6 targets a game. So it's not like this is a guy that you're just hoping steps into opportunity out of nowhere. This is a guy that had opportunity, and you're just looking for him to step back into that as he comes back from the IR here. One last injury that I got on my docket here is Garrett Wilson. He came back this week and immediately back out with a knee injury. Out 3 to 4 weeks is what I have been reading. And honestly, I hope that they just shut him down. This team is not going anywhere. They're 2-7. Is it 2-7, 2-8? Where are the Jets right now? But they're not a competitive team this year. They like Justin Fields is throwing, like we'll talk about it later, but Justin Fields is just throwing the ball at an egregiously low level in terms of volume, in terms of quality, in terms of everything. It's just the ugliest football that I've ever seen is coming out of the New York Jets right now. So I'm hoping that Garrett Wilson just gets healthy, gets ready for next year, and there is a new good passing quarterback to have here next season. 3 first-round picks for the Jets, so they can do something with that, whether it's in the draft or through trades or whatever the case may be. Rumors of Kyler Murray maybe making a trip out to New Jersey here to join the Jets, but we will just wait and see on that. But in terms of the Jets themselves, Garrett Wilson is out, and there is no next man up here. Stick with Brees, and honestly, like, if you want to get crazy, if you want to feel frisky, you can go with Justin Fields still while he's starting just for the rushing upside, but there is zero passing ability here right now. And it's not like Tyrod Taylor's going to be any better. I mean, he's probably he's going to throw the ball more, but it's just this is just a lost cause right now. You stick with Brees, and that's pretty much it here in New York. But that's all that I got for the injuries. If I'm missing anything, I don't think I am, but if I am, go ahead and kick it over to me. Let me know, and I can go ahead and talk about the fantasy impacts there. Paul, thank you for this here. We got a question. You're in the middle of the pack. Strong wide receivers and tight end, but lacking at running back. You got Dobbins, who's fading a little bit. You got Harvey, who might be stepping up here with the Dobbins injury, and you got Monangai, who is back into a support role here. You got 2 firsts. Should you trade for a running back or prepare for next season? If you're in the middle of the pack and you're just not feeling it, it also depends on what kind of strength you have at wide receiver and tight end. If it's older strength and you feel like you can make the push, like if you feel like you're a running back away, go make the trade. I always say that if you feel like you can actually make the push, do it. Because guess what? If you make it to the playoffs, if you're set for the playoffs and you're a running back away, all you need to do is just string together 3 wins. That's it. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone just has to string together 3 wins. So if you can make a move to bring in a running back, if you do feel like you can compete, I would do it. If not, you can prepare for next season. But honestly, with guys like Dobbins, Harvey, and Monangai, it's not like you can trade Dobbins for anything right now with the injury. I think Harvey's going to be perfectly fine. He's going to gain some value here, but ultimately, it depends on, like I said, what's your age at wide receiver and tight end looks like would be my determining factor. And if you feel like you're truly a running back away, if you're that strong at wide receiver and tight end, and you got some older pieces that are going to start to fall off, I would make the push now. But that's just me. I'm always a little bit more aggressive because I used to be that dynasty player that wanted the pretty roster. I had all the young guys that were like the high ceiling young guys, and I'm like, oh, I want it. And I would constantly just be shuffling, and I never made the push. And then finally, like the past 2-3 years, I've been for a team that's like in the top 60%, and I feel like I can make the push. I would go ahead and do it. I would just go ahead and make the push, but I would never like fully sell out. Like I only did that once last year on a team, and I won the championship because of it. And that was because everything was just lining up perfectly. So if you're not having that, and it looks like here you're super young at both, so Puke, Buga, St. Brown, and then you got Warren and Loveland. So yeah, I don't think you need to force it this year if you don't think that it's going to happen. Although that's a great team. I feel like you could just be a running back away. So I honestly, with seeing that, I'd probably try to make a push for a running back that is going to go ahead and help you out here. I wish I had some names. I'll try to come back to you on Thursday with some possible targets, but I think that is a very good team, and if you have an opportunity presented to you, I would go ahead and do that. Good morning, Brian. Welcome in to Wake and Take. Would you drop T-Law to get Burrow? You have Caleb. Is this a 1 QB league? I absolutely would. There's no point in hanging on to Caleb and Trevor Lawrence right now. Caleb's out of his bye, and you're never going to start Trevor Lawrence over Caleb Williams. If this is super flex, maybe a little bit more risky there because we know Burrow's not coming back until at least week 13, so you'd have to be figuring it out for 2 weeks. But in terms of like if this is a 1 QB league, I would have dropped T-Law a long time ago having Caleb Williams. And then, yeah, if you want to go ahead and stash Burrow. But, I mean, Caleb's been playing good football in terms of fantasy. And I think this offense is finally clicking here. I think the confidence is clicking in Caleb. So I would, but also it's just a stash. It's a stash right now to see if Burrow can come back and put it together at the end here. But, yeah, I would definitely do that. I would drop T-Law for anything right now if you have Caleb Williams. Jack Graham, good morning. Welcome in. Who would I rather have this week, Tez Johnson or Wan'Dale Robinson? Let me take actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just probably go ahead and say right off the dome, Tez. But let me go ahead and check matchups just to make sure. Tampa Bay versus Buffalo. Yeah. Tez. And then New York versus Green Bay. Tez Johnson this week for sure. Tez has been looking really good, especially because, I mean, no Godwin, no Bucky, no Mike Evans. Like, he is solidified as the number 2. He's got big playability on a weekly basis, and he is showing consistency too. It's not just been boom bust. It's been a little bit of floor, but then also just a very nice ceiling. And he is, I mean, this offense is running through the air right now with no Bucky Irving. And again, the timeline for Bucky isn't there. So I definitely think that you stick with Tez here. He's been in there since week 6 with around a 70% plus snap share, and he's been his targets have been kind of sitting right around 5 plus on good games. He's up to 9 targets when Baker's chucking the ball a ton. So definitely Tez Johnson for me. Even if Jameis is the starter in New York, it would be Tez for me. Brian, we got Caleb, Kincaid, and Addison for Hurts. You have McBride. It's a non-super flex. Okay, so yeah, non-super flex, so 100% drop T-Law for anything, especially if Burrow's out there. So you'd be sending Caleb, an injured Kincaid, who I don't trust for the rest of the year, and then Addison for Hurts. If you don't need Addison, I would go ahead and do that. Like I said, Caleb's been playing nice fantasy football, but I think that Hurts is just going to, I mean, even in a bad game, he got you 12 points, and it would have been 14 without in 4-point passing touchdowns. It would have been 14 points, so it's not a bad game. And I mean, outside of that, he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games of 19 plus points before that. So I think that it's going to be fine. I think that this offense is going to have to get it together out of necessity. So I do think that Caleb is surging right now, but if you can get rid of an injured guy like Kincaid and trade up to Jalen Hurts, who is a weekly top 5, top 4 quarterback, I'd go ahead and do that. Like I said, Caleb's been playing good. Caleb's got two great games in a row now, but we've also seen him just completely disappear. So I would take the consistency with Hurts there. Right. We got KJ. Good morning. Should you drop Bo Nix for Aaron Rodgers? You already have Sam Darnold rostered. I would hold on to Nix. He's been wildly erratic, and this offense has just been struggling in general. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is it's not like Rodgers has been consistent. It's not like Rodgers is doing great. I mean, Rodgers had 2 interceptions and a touchdown and less than 200 yards this past week. So I would hold on to Nix because the ceiling with Nix is much higher with the rushing. And if this offense gets it together with no J.K. Dobbins, we might need to see Nix either run the ball more himself or pass the ball more. So I think that you hold on to Nix, especially if you have someone that you can play matchups with like Sam Darnold. You can kind of pick the spots for Nix here, or just wait for him to get it together and just keep rolling with Darnold. Darnold's been cooking, so you can go ahead and stick with that. Brian, would I do a team review? Go ahead and toss it in there. I'll see what I can do. I will go ahead and see what I can do. But before we get to that, while you go ahead and get it typed up and everything, get it ready, I'm going to go ahead and just pivot over here to Fast Draft. As always, go ahead and get your drafts in over at Fast Draft. They have been doing free rolls for new players on the Quick 6 Super Slam, where you just pick 6 players. You don't do the draft. You just go ahead and pick your 6 guys. There's no salaries, no nothing, no draft. You just go ahead and say, I want these 6 guys. And it's fun because you kind of get to, it's a little bit crazy because you have to go ahead and theory craft and be like, oh, I think this guy's going to go off, or I think this guy's going to go off. And you gotta sprinkle in some chalk. You got to sprinkle in some spice. You got to do a little bit of both. And then you get this super fun Quick 6 Super Slam. Like I said, they've been doing free rolls for new players over there. And if you want to go ahead and do some extra rolls, you can go ahead and use code JOwensFF to get a $50 deposit match on your first deposit. And you could go do that. You can go do the Flex 6 Frenzy, where you get your 8-man pods, you get your draft going. You get a little bit of both here on Fast Draft, and it's a lot of fun. It's my favorite DFS of the season. It's the only DFS I've done this season has been on Fast Draft. So go ahead, go over, sign up if you haven't already. $50 deposit match using code JOwensFF over there. Love to see you in those streets. I've been kind of switching over to the Quick 6 Super Slam because every time I drafted guys in the Flex 6 Frenzy, my top guy would always get hurt. So I just decided I'm not even going to tempt the fates anymore. I'm just sticking with the Quick 6 Super Slam. But to talk a little bit more about it and give you some more details, here is the Podfather.
Pour one out for an incredible best ball season. It was a breakout 2025 for Fast Draft, but now the NFL action has started. That means it's DFS season. That's right. You might think, oh, wow, DFS, I can't win DFS. Oh, but you can on Fast Draft. You just pick any 6 guys, and you put them in a handful of booster spots. There's no salary rubric you have to follow. You're not going up against thousands of killer bots in these tournaments. Oh, no. These are regular people grabbing their 6 favorite plays of the week, and that's all you have to do. And we post the ownership so that you can choose how much chalk you want. There is no drafting. It's called the Quick 6 Super Slam. The Quick 6 Super Slam is the signature DFS contest at Fast Draft. It is changing DFS. We are making DFS great again. So go to fastdraft.app and use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. And let's go start drafting faster.
And like I said, that is the Quick 6 Super Slam. You just pick your top 6. You pick your top 6, you watch them score points, you plug them into your boosters, your 2x, your 1.5, your 1.25. You have fun with it. You mix and match. You get to go ahead and, like I said, you get to be a little spicy. At the beginning of the season, I tossed in Woody Marks and came real close to the top spot with Woody Marks in there when he had his one blow-up game. But it's a lot of fun. It's a good time. Make sure, again, if you are going over there and you have not deposited yet, use code JOwensFF to get a $50 deposit match. If you're doing $50, you get a free $50. That's 5 Quick 6 Super Slams. That's 10 of the Flex 6 Frenzies on the house right there if you go ahead and sign up using my code. Going to go ahead and bounce over here. Brian, I see you put the roster in there. Appreciate it. That was quick, dude. That was real quick. It's a 14-teamer. You're currently 7-3, so you're sitting pretty right now. So you got Caleb at quarterback. You got Achane, Dobbins, Stevenson. So you're light at running back. With Dobbins' injury, that was an injury that I forgot to put in there. Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins. And I'll go ahead and talk about that after we get through this here. But we got Dobbins and Stevenson at running back, and then you have London, Rice, Diggs, Addison, Reed, and Tez. So you're deep at wide receiver, and then you got McBride and Kincaid. I think instead of trying to trade up at the quarterback position, I think Caleb's going to be fine. I think Caleb is going to, you might have to get burned a couple times here and there. You might have to eat it a couple times, but I think right now Caleb is looking good. He's been looking solid, and the past 2 games he's over 50 rushing yards, and he's just been consistently his attempts are in the 5+ range, which is what you want to see in terms of rushing upside on a quarterback. And then he's been throwing the ball 30+ times the past 3 games, and he's been cooking. He's been cooking pretty good. Schedule for him isn't terrible for the next couple weeks, and then it's a little bit tougher in the fantasy playoffs. But I think right now your situation is you need a running back. You need a running back. So if you can go ahead and put something together with these wide receivers, and if you can sell Kincaid to someone, if someone will take Kincaid, obviously being a 14-teamer, tight end is even more scarce than normal. So if someone is looking for a tight end to come back to, or they don't think the Kincaid injury is that serious, you can go ahead and try to do that. But I think it's going to be tough to move Kincaid. But I really think that you need a second running back behind Achane right now to help keep you afloat. That would be where I would be focusing my trade energy, would be in the running back position. I think that you're all right at quarterback right now. Caleb's Caleb's been looking great. He's been in the top 3 quarterbacks the past 2 weeks now. So he's been looking good. Sorry, top four this week because Dart did pass him up, and Davis Mills was a random number 1. But Caleb Williams has been looking fine. I think this offense is finally clicking. But I think you definitely need a running back to help solidify this roster for the playoffs. Stevenson coming back soon, hopefully. But with Henderson blowing up, we might see more of a 50-50 share. And I don't know what to make of the New England running backs. So I would want someone a little bit more solidified here. And then going back to J.K. Dobbins, since I did miss this earlier, he did leave the game on Thursday with a foot injury. It was a hip drop tackle, and he was very upset about it, posting to social media. So right now, they have a bye coming up in week 12. So we might see Dobbins sit week 11, which means RJ Harvey would be an absolute smash here against Kansas City. Tough matchup, but would still be an absolute smash here. But really, with Dobbins, we've seen this a million times with his injury history. He did this last season where he started strong. He was the workhorse. He was doing great, and he just started to fade. And we're starting to see that fade here now. The opportunities have been there, but the efficiency has not been. In the past, five games? In the past 5 games, he's only got 1 game over 10 fantasy points, and that was a touchdownless 13-point game against Dallas. So things are starting to kind of come down for Dobbins and start to go up for RJ Harvey. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, in terms of this roster, Brian, I think you need to start focusing on if you can make a trade for a running back here. That's where I would go. Your league is stingy with running backs. That's every league out there. So you tried to Kincaid and Dobbins last week for Warren. It was rejected. Honestly, last week probably a good trade, but now that's going to be impossible. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to get a running back here, but I don't think that selling your wide receiver depth to get a bit more quarterback depth is going to be a huge difference maker. Obviously, like I said, getting Hurts over Caleb is going to be more consistent. But if you can, I would focus on a running back first, and if you can make that trade for Hurts, I would still do that. Appreciate that there. Let's see here. We got KJ back. We got start 2 this week. We got Hendo, RJ Harvey, Sharps, Vidal, and possibly DeMarcado if I target him off of waivers. Full PPR. I think you got to go with Kamani Vidal as my easy one. I think Vidal is going to go ahead. I mean, yes, it's a little untrustworthy. He is doing the full red light, green light every week. So this would be a red light week, but I don't really buy into that. I think it's just the way the games are flowing. And I could see the Chargers getting out on top of Jacksonville here. It is in Jacksonville, so it's a little bit sketchy, but I still stick with Vidal. And obviously, I think that J.K. Dobbins is going to miss Week 11, so I would go with R.J. Harvey. If you're not trusting Vidal this week, my next choice would be Henderson. Especially keep an eye on Ramondre Stevenson. It is Thursday, so we might not see Stevenson. So actually, I might change that. I might change that up here. If we don't see Stevenson play on Thursday, Henderson is a must start. And then I think I would go Vidal over RJ Harvey. Just in terms of matchup, I think that RJ Harvey is still going to be in a committee. I don't think they're going to just hand the keys over to him and give him the J.K. Dobbins workload where we could see Vidal get another 25-plus carries. So I think Vidal is a safer option than RJ Harvey. And I think Henderson with no Stevenson is a much better option against the hapless Jets right now. So that's where I would go. DeMarcado, I'm not really looking for him. We might see Trey Benson come back this week, and it's against San Francisco off of a bad loss. So I got a feeling they're going to come out pissed. So Henderson, Vidal would be my top 2. If you want to get spicy, Harvey over Vidal. Appreciate the questions, guys. Going to go ahead and flip on over to the week in review. We had a wild week this week. I got a ton. My show sheet is monstrous. I kept typing and it kept flowing. So gonna go as quickly as I can to try to cover every single game from this past week here. Already covered the Monday Night Football at the top of the show. So if you're coming in now, go ahead and catch the replay either on YouTube or over on whatever podcast listening app you use, Spotify, Apple. It is the show is posted there every time if you want to catch up on the Monday night recap. Starting with the Thursday Night Football game, it was we had two just absolute stinkers in the Thursday night and the Monday night game. This Thursday night was even more boring than the Monday night, in my opinion, just because it was ugly football. It was like the Packers and the Eagles can make ugly football look beautiful because they're both just defensive-minded teams. But when you got the Raiders out there flailing, and then you got Bo Nix out there just looking erratic as he has been this season, it was gross football to watch. There was no redeeming quality here to this game. We did see Troy Franklin catch a touchdown. He was my start of the week at the wide receiver position, and I mean, he came through. But I mean, at the same time, like 9 targets. He led the entire team in targets by almost double. Next highest was Evan Ingram with 5 targets, and this has just been what Franklin's been doing. He's been consistently putting together targets and touchdowns. Like over the past 4 games, he's got 4 touchdowns, and he's averaging 28, 37, he's almost averaging like 8, a little bit higher than 8, like about 9, a little over 9 targets per game is what he's averaging right now in the past 4 weeks. 4 touchdowns over those games. He's kind of taken over as the primary right now, as Sutton's been struggling. We've seen Troy Franklin really be a primary target for Bo Nix, and I think that's something we need to lean into. He's still only 58% rostered on Sleeper right now, which is mind-blowing. I've been saying every week that he's a weekly start. Like, I get it. Like, he's got a couple stinkers in there, but 9 targets a game, 4 touchdowns over 4 games. The fact that he is 58% rostered is insane, and he needs to be picked up. If he's not picked up in your league right now, you need to pick him up. He's not a roster clogging wide receiver. He is someone that you can flex on a weekly basis for a floor at minimum and a touchdown ceiling that we saw this week. I do expect Bo Nix to get it together. I do expect Bo Nix to turn around. It might not come until after the bye. They get Kansas City at home in Week 11 here, so it's a tough matchup, but it's a matchup they're going to have to put up points to win here. So expect Troy Franklin to keep rolling this week here. Again, J.K. Dobbins injury, so R.J. Harvey, keep an eye on him this week. He might be someone that blows up here. But again, just an ugly game, and we thought that with Bowers back that everything was going to be fine, everything was going to be peachy, this offense was going to get back on track, but we are seeing that is not the case, and we're back to being skeptical on the weapons here in Vegas, but we are provided with the great fact that the Vegas Raiders play the Dallas Cowboys this week. So no matter what your hesitations are on Genty, on Bowers, you're starting them this week. I don't care who else you have. You're starting Bowers. You're starting Genty against the Dallas Cowboys. That's all that I got on the Vegas side. You can't start any of the wide receivers. Trey Tucker was supposed to be the number 1 this week, 3 targets. Tyler Lockett had 6 targets. So really, it's Bowers, it's Genty, and that's it on the Vegas Raiders. Unless you're in a super deep, super desperate league right now, go ahead and try it with a Tyler Lockett, with a Trey Tucker. But it's impossible to trust any of these guys right now on this team. Like I said, if you want to take the dart throw against the Cowboys, go for it. But I'm just sticking with the 2 studs here, and that is all that I'm looking for in Vegas. Leave them be. We had the Germany game this week, 9:30 Sunday game with the Falcons and the Indianapolis Colts, and we were absolutely treated to an overtime barn burner matchup here with the king of fantasy football right now. Derrick Henry has to pass the crown to this guy here, Jonathan Taylor. Another 3 touchdown game paired with 286 all-purpose yards. 286. That's almost a 300-yard game plus 3 touchdowns. And it's not just like goal line plunges. This dude is taking it from 80 out. Jonathan Taylor is just having an unheralded season right now. This dude is on fire. He is in MVP conversations for good reason. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games out of 10 that he has scored 3+ touchdowns. A 50% hit rate on 3+ touchdowns. That's insane. It's absolutely insane what Jonathan Taylor is doing this season. If you drafted him in the 2nd round, you are cruising. You are crushing it. It does not matter what the rest of your team looks like. Jonathan Taylor can save you, will save you, and is poised to bring you to the promised land, poised to bring a trophy into your household. I mean, Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville to finish off the year. It's not even like he's got tough matchups in the playoffs. Dude's just doing the damn thing. Fantasy Condo, sipping some coffee. Good morning. Good morning. Paul, I'll get to your question in just a second here. Going to go ahead and finish up this matchup, and then I'll bounce over. Also on the Indianapolis side, I've been talking about him on a weekly basis now for a couple weeks, ever since he came back from his injury. Alec Pierce is the primary weapon in this passing game right now. Not the primary weapon, but the primary wide receiver. He has been out there 90+% of the time. 90+% snap share, and in this week, a 27% target share. He had 7 targets on Daniel Jones' 26 pass attempts. He's been wildly consistent. A guy that has been known in the past to be boom bust, big play or nothing type guy has been consistent ever since coming back from his injury. He's been 80+% snap share. He's had games with 10 targets, 13 targets. This past game was 7 targets, and he's posted over 60 yards, over 65 yards in the past 4 games here. He got the tutty this week too. So Alec Pierce is another guy that I just don't understand. He's in the same realm as Troy Franklin, where he's 53% rostered on Sleeper. What are we doing out there, guys? Alec Pierce needs to be on your fantasy team. He needs to be plugged into your flex on a weekly basis. Obviously, not this week with Indianapolis on a bye, so maybe you don't need to scoop him this week. But if you have the open spot, scoop him now so you're not having to fight for him next week. Alec Pierce is that dude right now. He is just he's consistent. He's wildly consistent. He's got a floor finally. He's a big play guy that has a built-in floor now on a team that is just cruising. This guy needs to be rostered. He needs to be started at least as a flex on a weekly basis in fantasy football. Tyler Warren, back to his old ways. We had seen a couple. We saw a couple quiet games in weeks 8 and 9, but he's back here with 10 targets, 8 catches, and 99 yards. That's Tyler Warren for you. Sometimes you see him disappear behind Jonathan Taylor, just like this offense does. But coming out of the bye, they get Kansas City, Houston, Jacksonville, Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville again. So a good matchup here for Indianapolis coming out of the bye. So make sure you're scooping Alec Pierce for your playoff push, for your playoff run. On the Atlanta side, we saw a little bit of a weird offense. I mean, really Drake London doing Drake London things, being consistent. 8 targets, tied for the team lead. Only wide receiver that is viable, only passing option that is viable right now in this offense. 6 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Ever since he came back from his injury, dude's been cooking. He's got 2 top wide receiver finishes the past 2 weeks. He's got 2 more games with 20+ fantasy points. So he is doing perfectly fine. He came back from injury, and he is just ready to go. They get a little bit of slower matchups here against Carolina and New Orleans and the Jets coming up, but you got to keep rolling with Drake London. You can't step away from that. Dude's on fire right now. In the running back room, we thought we were going to see the duel. We thought we were going to see Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson duke it out, and Bijan had a solid game. He had 88 yards, 19 opportunities, but the story here in Atlanta is once they get in the red zone, it's been Tyler Algier. It's been consistently Algier. Algier is vulturing left and right here. He's got a career high. What is it? 5? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. A career high 6 touchdowns for Algier right now. And like I said, he's been consistently getting the red zone opportunities for this team, and that's becoming a problem for Bijan Robinson. It's definitely becoming a problem. It's limiting his ceiling right now. We saw early in the year that he was getting anything and everything. He was getting all the passing work. He was getting all the goal line work. He was getting everything. And we've seen that shift lately in the past 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks or so. And it's very much to Bijan and Bijan fantasy team's detriment. And I don't think it's going to change. It needs to, because it's not like the team is really winning. They're 3-6 right now. So keep your best players on the field would be my thing. But Algier is also being successful. So will we see the change? I don't know. I think some type of internal change will have to happen with this team for that to take place. So Bijan's ceiling feeling capped right now. Jonathan Taylor, the new king of running backs right now. Like I said, Derrick Henry needs to pass the crown on. Paul, coming back to you here. Start Christian Watson, Rashid Shaheed, or Parker Washington. I would start Christian Watson going into next week. I do expect that we see Rashid Shaheed's snap share, and we're going to talk about him a little bit later. And Parker Washington, we'll talk about them a little bit later. I do think that we'll see Shaheed's snap share go up a little bit, and I think we're going to see Parker Washington's come down a little bit. But I think that Christian Watson, with all of the injuries here, is your best bet. If you want to just try to capture lightning in a bottle, Shaheed, obviously, better offense, better player. I'm just not sure how much Seattle's going to use him in his first full week in practice. We might see them force feed him. So I think Watson's going to be your safer option, and I think Shaheed is going to be your higher ceiling option here. Because last night we saw Watson get 4 targets, not the most consistent, but he is going to get his shots on a weekly basis, and I think it was just more of the matchup this week here. We get the Green Bay against New York, so excuse me, sorry about that. Could not find the mute button fast enough. That came out of nowhere. Let's see. We got Cozy. Good morning. Welcome in. Would I trade away Barkley and Jaden Reed for ETN, Shaheed, and Hampton? No, I don't think I would do that. I think ETN is the bell cow. I think he's set up here. Is going to be. He's got some nice games coming up here. But I think Barkley's going to be just fine. He gave you 11 and a half PPR points this week. He had 3 catches, 41 yards in the air, over 100 yards total for Barkley. I don't mind getting rid of Jaden Reed, but Shaheed, we don't know what he's going to be. Hampton, don't know what he's going to be. Oh yeah, if it's dynasty, yeah. If this is redraft, I think I'd stick it with Barkley and Jaden Reed. But if this is dynasty, I would go ahead and do that for sure. But in terms of redraft, which is what I read this as, I would go ahead and stick with your Barkley and Reed. Reed should be coming back soon. And this Green Bay offense is desperate for pass catching playmakers right now with all of the injuries they're having and just kind of mid guys. I mean, we saw Romeo Doubs leave the game with a chest injury, so it could be another injury here for Green Bay. But I would stick with Barkley and Reed there. You're just kind of wish casting on Hampton coming back and dominating, and we don't even know if or when Hampton's going to come back this season. But thank you for that question. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and just clarify dynasty or redraft, I can go ahead and solidify my answer there for you. But moving on to the New Orleans-Carolina game, we had the shocker here. New Orleans upsets Carolina. Carolina's been cooking, but it just seemed like one of those hangover games where we saw a couple of those hangover games this week, where the team that's been kind of cruising, kind of looking good, comes in against a lesser opponent and just shits the bed. And that's exactly what happened with Carolina and New Orleans. Tyler Shuck looked good. It wasn't like a game breaker, like game breaking type thing here, but Tyler Shuck looked good. 282 and 2 touchdowns against Carolina, who has been shutting down pocket quarterbacks. The pocket QBs have had 0 success against Carolina this year, and Shuck looked good. Kamara, if you have Kamara and you're looking to get out, now is the time. Sell Alvin Kamara. That is my number one takeaway from this week is sell Alvin Kamara for anything right now. He looked good, over 100 yards, but how often are we going to see Kamara get 22 carries? We saw that because from pretty much the get-go, very early on, New Orleans had a lead, and so they were able to run the ball with Alvin Kamara with success. We've seen in the past that New Orleans has been playing from behind almost all season. So moving forward, how often do we expect New Orleans to be playing with a lead? I don't think it's going to be that often. So go ahead and sell. This has been your one opportunity. You have not been able to sell the man for anything this season. And it's not even like he had a touchdown to really give you the big boom. But I would just sell for literally anything right now to get out from Alvin Kamara going into his bye. It's time. He's not going to be getting 25 out. He hasn't gotten 25 opportunities all season. He's had less than 10 opportunities the past 2 weeks. Less than 15 or less opportunities for the past 6 weeks. It's been tough to trust Kamara. It's been tough to trust anyone outside of Olave and Shaheed, who's not even on the team anymore, and Juwan Johnson. It's the pass catchers that you want here. Olave, I did say to sit him. I thought that we were going to see Carolina shut down New Orleans as a whole. was not the case. Olave, you gotta keep going with him. I said sit him. I'm not gonna do that ever again. I learned my lesson. 8 targets, 104, and a touchdown from Shuck here for him. And then Juwan Johnson, the other pass catcher that I will be interested in on a weekly basis, especially for the fact that tight end is gross. Still only 61% rostered on Sleeper at the tight end position with all the injuries going on. Go scoop Juwan Johnson if you need a tight end and plug him in. Only 4 targets, but 92 yards and a tutty here for him. I think in a game where we see more pass attempts with New Orleans playing from behind, it's going to be Olave, it's going to be Juwan, who you're going to want to play on a weekly basis here. On the Carolina side, as I can see here, who said it? The John Paul, the Bryce Young experiment is officially over. As a Panthers fan, you're a Panthers fan. Okay, so you're really feeling it. Yeah, Bryce Young looked awful. 17 for 25, 125 yards and an interception, and then a fumble lost to 2 turnovers, just killing this team. They ran the ball through Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle got the early touchdown, and then Young can't keep drives alive. It's really tough. It's really tough here, and I'm sorry that you're a Panthers fan to have to sit through that. Honestly, I don't know what to do because Andy Dalton came in and looked just as bad. So obviously the matchup was tougher when Dalton came in, but we might see a switch up here. They go into Atlanta, they go into San Francisco, and the Rams. So it's going to be tough sledding here for the Carolina Panthers in general. Rico is really the only one that you must start on a weekly basis. And then Tetairoa McMillan, it's tough to turn away from that, man. I mean, 8 targets, a 32% target share on the game, but Bryce Young just makes it so hard to trust Tetairoa McMillan. We saw brief bouts of the ceiling out of him, and it felt good, and then Bryce Young just saps all of that out of you. So hopefully we see some consistency here, but like I said, the next couple of weeks are going to be tough. Atlanta's tough defense. San Francisco is hit or miss. That might be a little bit better of a matchup, and then the Rams are just an impossible matchup right now for teams. So Tetairoa McMillan going to be a tough start here, 2 out of the next 3 weeks. But I mean, if a lot of teams can't really turn away from him right now. That is all that I got on this game. I see a lot. The chat is popping off right now. I appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and flip over here. Ricardo, you're going ham. Let's see if I can get you some answers here. Ricardo, should I keep Jettas or Odunze and trade the other one for a better tight end than Hunter Henry? What can you get for Jettas, Odunze, and Hunter Henry? You should be able to get one of the top tight ends for either of those guys. Let's see here. What tight ends could we be looking at? If you can go get a George Kittle. Is there not anything on the waiver wire? I mean, dude. Also, let's cool it on the spam. Let's cool it on the spam. All right, Ricardo, I'm going to answer this question, but I'm going to have to ask you to relax on the spam next time. I will get to your questions. I get to everyone's questions every time. I'm seeing the same thing 3 times here. If you can get a Kittle, I would get a Kittle. Obviously, it's going to be tough to do that. And then I don't know if you really want to trade it. I mean, if you're trading one of these top guys, you're going to have to go after a top tight end like a Kittle, a McBride, a Tyler Warren. Those would be the only 3 that I would sell Jettas or Odunze for. There's got to be something on the waiver wire that's better than Hunter Henry because Hunter Henry is not it right now. Just letting you know. Let's see here. Gotta go ahead and just comb through this here. Paul Vo, you think Devin Neal will be the starter next year, or they draft or trade for a running back? They might draft another one, but we saw Kendre Miller get some good run before he had the injury. Obviously, it's going to be a while before we see him again. But I don't think Devin Neal is going to be the starter. I think Alvin Kamara is going to be the starter. He has the extension. He's the running back for the next 2 years or so. I think maybe after next year they have an out on the contract, but they extended Kamara, and unless they trade him, he's going to be the starting running back for this team. We just hope that better days are ahead and better usage. The lack of passing game has been so weird for Kamara this season. But yeah, so I think Devin Neal's a nice dynasty stash, but I don't think he's going to be the long-term answer here in New Orleans. Going to pick it up a little bit because we got a lot of games to go. And we're already pushing at an hour here. We had the game that cost Daboll his job. The Chicago Bears come back with a walk-off victory once again against the New York Giants. Chicago's just been the heart attack kids, man. They have been coming back, 2 weeks in a row now? Just some big-time plays out of Caleb Williams against Cincinnati and now against the Giants here. Like I said, hopefully this is the confidence that he needs, because Caleb Williams has looked great. He was the quarterback 2 weeks ago against Cincinnati, and here he is. He was QB 4 or 5, was it? He was QB 4 on the week with another 25 fantasy points, 220, and 1 touchdown in the air. He probably could have had 2 or 3 passing touchdowns. He hit a couple guys in the back of the end zone on some tough catches, but catches that should have been made. So Caleb Williams has been cooking, and like I said earlier when we were talking about Caleb Williams, over 50 rushing yards the past 2 weeks, and he's been sprinkling in the rushes here. He's been doing a good job with it, where he's averaging around probably about 5 rush attempts per game. And really, we've been seeing it the past 2 weeks consistently. And I hope that we continue to see it, because it helps fantasy football floor so much when you get those extra 6 points for free. We did see DeAndre Swift come back from his injury, and we were kind of curious to see what the split between Monangai and Swift is, but it was all Swift. It was Swift. He stepped right back into the driver's seat here. And it was 63 to 40% snap share in favor of Swift, but 72% of the opportunities went to Swift, 21 opportunities to Monangai's 8. Monangai got the touchdown. So he's going to be kind of like a Tyler Algier type guy, where he's going to get his 30% on good games, 35% opportunities, but he's going to be a touchdown threat on a weekly basis, because both these guys are getting mixed in on the red zone. So I think Monangai is going to be a desperation flex here moving forward, and just a premium handcuff plus that you have to hold on to, especially with Swift dealing with injuries now over the past couple of weeks. But Swift is back into the driver's seat here. I called it on Sunday on Twitter when I dropped my rankings that Odunze was going to have his bounce back game, and here we are. 10 targets, 6 catches, 86 in a tutty. This is just, like I said, you had to stick with Odunze. You should not have been panicking on Odunze. 3 out of 4 games out of the bye were duds, including the Goose against Cincinnati, which was weird. That was just a weird game in general. But I mean, this is what you should expect from Odunze on a more consistent basis. I think we're going to see a lot more of this than we are of the duds. So keep sticking with Odunze. DJ Moore goosed us this week. He did leave. He was in and out with injury, so that might have been a little bit of an issue, and he did have that drop in the back of the end zone on a tough catch. But he's been dealing with injuries as well, so he might be making way here for a Luther Burden breakout again, who 3 for 3, 51 yards. When he gets the ball, he looks good. He's just not on the field enough right now. So keep an eye on Luther Burden. His snap share was up to 49%. Like I said, DJ Moore left the game, so I think that's why we saw the increased snap share. If DJ Moore misses time, we should see Luther Burden get some more run and more targets. But until that time, he is just a deep stash right now. Colston Loveland didn't kill you. I told you to sit him. I told you we weren't going to get the big game out of him this week, and we didn't. 4 for 4 though, and 55 yards. So a decent floor. This is all you can expect, and that was with Cole Kmet out there on the field as well. So I think you can go ahead if you picked up Loveland off of his big game, you can go ahead and just stick with him. You don't have to play tight end roulette right now. He did split time with Cole Kmet, 63% Colston Loveland snaps, 69% Cole Kmet. So it is going to be a split snap share, but the passing work is going to Loveland in this tight end group here. On the New York Giants side, we talked about Jackson Dart at the top of the show. Go ahead and flip back after I post the podcast if you want to catch up on that. Another 66 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns, and then 242 in the air. So Jackson Dart, if he can stay healthy, if he can stay out of the blue medical tent, I already said on my show with Jeremiah last week, he is going to be a league-winning quarterback just because he's doing it with his legs. The guy is, I mean, he's got more rushing touchdowns than a lot of running backs in the league right now. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 rushing touchdowns on the year right now. So Dart is going to go ahead and he's going to win you your league if he is on the field for the playoff stretch here. The dude is just doing it with his legs. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have wide receivers. It doesn't matter if his top receiver is Theo Johnson, who great tight end scoop as well. Another guy, 30% rostered, going to be consistently targeted, going to be a consistent part of this Giants offense. Flipping to the running backs here, we saw Tyrone Tracy dominate the snaps again, 66% to 34%, but he only had 16 opportunities to Singletary's 11 opportunities. Singletary did do more with it, with yardage too, and was more involved in the passing game, which is weird. Tyrone Tracy converted wide receiver. You think that flip-flop. Honestly, the way that this is shaken out, they're both gross. They're both not going to be trustworthy. But if you do need a spot start out of one of these Giants running backs, I'm going to lean Tyrone Tracy still. I know that this game says don't do that, but the opportunities, the snaps, it all says that Tyrone Tracy is going to be the first dude out there. And if he can get a hot start, it's going to be Tyrone Tracy. We'll see what the new coach, what the new play caller has in store here. But I'm still sticking with Tracy if I have to pick a New York Giants running back. I keep flipping that. Jets and Giants. What am I doing? Let's go ahead and flip over to the chat here. We got Julian. Welcome. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Wake and Take It. Rashad White, a must keep or trade him. You got CMC, Henderson, Aaron Jones, and Kamara. If you can get anything for Rashad White with those running backs, get it. Get a tight end. Get a filler wide receiver, someone that you can flex, because while White is good now and while Bucky's timeline is, who knows, we're hearing again this morning, there's still no timeline on Bucky. White's going to be consistently in there, but you don't really need him right now. Aaron Jones is perfectly fine. Henderson's coming on, and CMC is a beast. I would feel comfortable starting Aaron Jones on a weekly basis over Rashad White, and you know that the Rashad White clock is ticking. So if you can get anything for him right now, his value is as high as it's going to be. So I would sell White for whatever you can get. I like that move for you there, Julian. Jonathan, we got trade James Cook for Justin Jefferson. Your other running backs will be Jacobs, Terry, Sharps, Benson, and wide receivers are St. Brown. You would have Jefferson and Pickens there. I don't know if I don't trust your running backs more than, I don't know who you have outside of St. Brown and Pickens, but I don't know if I trust Tracy, Sharps, or Trey Benson over that. I think I would rather struggle at wide receiver than struggle at running back right now with those options. You'll be pulling your hair out having to pick between Tracy, Charbonnet, and Benson on a weekly basis for your RB2 slot. Whereas if you got St. Brown and Pickens as your wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, those are two great options, and then you can go ahead and just kind of plug and figure it out off of like the waiver wire or whoever your deep options are. So I don't think I would do that. I think James Cook is gonna be okay. I think he's gonna bounce back. He's had a couple tough games. So I would hold right now, especially Jettas with JJ McCarthy. I don't know if I like that. I think James Cook is gonna be fine. Julian, your offers right now would be White for Stafford. You got Drake May, so you don't really need Stafford, or Flowers and White for Ladd. I like Flowers and White for Ladd. I think that's a very fair trade. Obviously, you're buying high on Ladd, but I think that's perfectly fine. I love Flowers too, so it's not like I'm saying like, oh, I think Flowers is bad. I think Flowers is really going to take off here, but I think that Ladd and Flowers are very similar floor, but Ladd's ceiling is much higher, and if you can package your Rashad White to go ahead and bump up to that, I would do that for sure. White for Stafford, I think you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to pick between May and Stafford on a weekly basis, and you would have to stick with May. May's been too good to bench and has the rushing upside that Stafford does not. So I think if you do White for Stafford, you're just going to sit there with Stafford on your bench for the rest of the time. So if you can go ahead, send Flowers and White for Ladd, I would do that one for sure. That's a good trade. I like that move. Moving on. Sorry, guys. You guys are active today. I love it. Usually it's the Thursday show that's popping off, but we got the Tuesday show popping off. I appreciate you guys. Moving right along, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans, who also had a just barn burner of a game here. Davis Mills, QB1 on the week. What the hell? Did not see that coming. Did not see that coming here. Did not see this explosion of points here. I thought this was going to be another Thursday night, Monday night game where it's 7-10, but here we are. Houston takes down Jacksonville 36-29. My notes here are going to be the Davis Mills legacy game. It doesn't matter. Stroud's coming back as soon as he clears concussion protocol, for better or for worse for this team, for this offense right now. Obviously, I think that seeing the success that Davis Mills had should tell CJ Stroud to focus on hyper targeting Nico Collins. Sometimes these guys get too cutesy. when they're trying to spread the ball around. And I mean, there's a lot of options in Houston right now, but there is one primary option, and they need to stick with it, and that is Nico Collins. 15 targets, 136 yards. This is what we expected out of Nico this season, and we just haven't seen it, whether it's been health, whether it's been this offensive line, just everything. Here, Jamie, good morning. You didn't miss the whole show. Honestly, it's been a slow burner because chat's been active, so we're only about halfway through the games, and I'm gonna pick it up here because, like I said, we're an hour 10 in. I gotta get going. But Nico Collins is really the only wide receiver I want here. Jaden Higgins had the touchdown, but outside of that, the snap shares just been all over the place with these wide receivers. Like every guy, it's impossible to pick who else is there. We've got Kirk, Hutchinson, and Higgins all in that 40-50% snap share. Jalen Noel is kind of the guy that's left out right now as soon as Christian Kirk came back. He's someone that I would go target in dynasty trades right now, is Jalen Noel, because we saw when Kirk was out, he was the one-for-one slot guy replacement. So go get Jalen Noel while his value is as low as it's going to be in your dynasty leagues for next year. But outside of that, it's Nico Collins at wide receiver, and that's it. Woody Marks dominated this running back, this backfield once again, and I'm hoping that this is the end of the takeover. Like, we've seen Marks get up there, and we've seen him be good, and then we see the next game Chubb comes back and gets a 50% snap share, 50% opportunity share. You're like, what the hell's going on? But this week, once again, 78% snaps for Marks compared to Chubb's 14%, 74% of the opportunities, including 81 yards and a tutty. So we got a big matchup here for Woody Marks in week 11. Just letting you know, I'm starting him. I'm rocking with Woody Marks here in week 11, and we might see him on the Thursday show as a start of the week. Haven't done my rankings yet. Haven't mapped it all out yet, but that's what I'm looking at. On the Jacksonville Jaguars side, we have ETN still being the bell cow. Tootin isn't pushing nothing right now. We got 60% of the snaps for ETN, and honestly, LaQuint Allen has been kind of the one that's getting more snaps than Tootin even, which is kind of surprising. But ETN, 74% of the opportunities, he is the running back here for the rest of the season, unless they start to pack it in, which Jacksonville, I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to try to make the playoff push. They traded for Jacoby Myers. You don't trade for a guy mid-season to not make a push here. And Jacoby Myers, I mean, he came in on Tuesday, and he was tossed right into it. 44% of snaps is kind of high for a guy who had 3 days of practice. He only got 3 targets. One of them was a red zone target. I think that got called back. So I think we're going to see a lot of involvement very quickly here from Jacoby Myers. Especially, we're keeping an eye on Brian Thomas Jr. on what his injury status is for week 11. But I think Jacoby Myers is going to be fine even with Brian Thomas back. Parker Washington had the big game with the big touchdown, the punt return touchdown. He looked great, but I think we're going to start to see him take more of the role that he had when it was Thomas and Travis Hunter. I think we're going to see him revert back to that, where he's going to have targets, he's going to have games, but you're really only going to be able and want to start Thomas and Jacoby moving forward here, especially when Hunter comes back. We got the next game here is going to be the other hangover shocker that we had with the Buffalo Bills coming in and coming out completely flat against Miami, losing 13-30. I'm just going to call this a blip in the radar for the Buffalo Bills. We see this often when a team has a big win against a tough opponent, a la Buffalo Bills beating Kansas City Chiefs last week, and then they go down to Miami, they travel, and they just looked bad. They looked bad on offense, they looked bad on defense. Josh Allen still saved the day with 300 passing yards and 2 tutties, but he did have 2 turnovers as well, so not as big of a game as we would like to see. James Cook, another flat game here. We've seen that more often than we would like. We got 1, 2, 3 games under 10 points in the past 5. He did have a 33-point banger against Carolina, so you got to stick with James Cook. You got to stick with him, but just know that it's not as consistent as it was at the beginning of the season here. This offense is kind of shaky with, and it might be even shakier now with no Kincaid moving forward. In the wide receiver world, Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir, the only 2 receivers that you need to even think about on Buffalo. Keon Coleman might be a little bit more interesting with Kincaid going out with injury. He was kind of filling a very similar role of the downfield threat that Kincaid was doing. So with no Kincaid, Coleman might see a little bit more opportunity, but it's going to be a weekly dart throw with him. You can still trust Shakir in your PPR leagues. 7 catches, 9 targets, 58 yards. It's not It's not much, but that's a good floor there. A good floor for him. And we got some juicy matchups coming up here with Tampa Bay next week. Houston a stinker, but then you get Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, New England, Cleveland, and Philly to close out the season. So I think Shakir is going to be perfectly fine to close out the year. This is going to be his floor right here that we saw. 9 points, half PPR. What is that? 12, 13 points in full PPR. So we stick there. And on the Miami side, I'm going to keep it simple. I've been saying it every week. Been saying it every damn week. If it's not Achane, if it's not Waddle, don't care. Don't care. Achane, absolute monster here. 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dude was just this is Devon Achane that you know, where he can take any touch to the house, and that's why you don't ever worry about like the matchup. You don't worry about Miami's offense in general. It's Achane. And then Waddle had the big bomb touchdown this week, 84 and a touchdown on 7 targets here. So I think the formula for Miami is simple. Don't even look at Tua. Don't watch the game. But you start your Achane, you start your Waddle. JGZ, we got a question here. Welcome in. Good morning. Good morning. Should you trade Bowers, CD, and Rashad White for Bijan and Judkins? No. If you are very desperate at running back, maybe. But I mean, Bowers is going to be a top tight end option. I know, bad game, but he's also got 3 touchdown capability in him. And then CD, top wide receiver right there, and Rashad White is someone that I would look to trade right now, but not with the other 2 guys to just get Bijan and Judkins. We talked about it earlier in the show for the Atlanta matchup, but the ceiling for Bijan's capped right now with Aljair getting all of the red zone work, and Judkins is at the mercy of the Cleveland Browns team in general. He's at the mercy of Dylan Gabriel right now. And we've seen big games, we've seen quiet games, and that's going to be par for the course with Judkins. So I think you have a consistent guy with CeeDee Lamb that I would keep, and then Bowers is going to be, I mean, in the running for tight end 1 on a weekly basis. So I don't think I would do that. Is it fair? I think it's fair. I don't think it's an unfair trade. I think it's very fair, but I would rather have Bowers, CD, and White over Bijan and Judkins. Moving right along to the Baltimore Ravens against the Minnesota Vikings. Baltimore cruising right along with Lamar Jackson back. The defense really was a story here. I don't know if Alex is in the chat. I haven't seen him this morning, but Alex, if you're watching this later or if you're listening on the podcast, you were right. I was wrong. You were right. This Baltimore defense, healthy, is much better. They went into Minnesota and they took care of 9. JJ McCarthy pumpkined out with 2 bad interceptions where he was just throwing up a prayer to Justin Jefferson twice. And people are going to say, oh, Justin Jefferson gave up on the ball. And, I mean, maybe he did, but also, like, it wasn't really even close, man. The only good thing that I will say about JJ McCarthy was 5 carries, 48 yards. That's what I said to look out for. If he's going to be running the ball, it's going to be good for fantasy football. This team needs to fix the offense with JJ McCarthy. They don't really know how to operate with him, with a guy that can move around. They've been stuck in pocket passer purgatory for so long. I mean, successfully. Last season with Darnold, Jefferson, Addison, Hawk, great. Before that with Kirk Cousins, perfectly fine. And here we are now with a mobile quarterback and JJ McCarthy, and it's been rocky. They got to figure it out. They got to get this offense schemed up better. In terms of the running backs, Aaron Jones came in, and it is his show once again. If he is healthy, he is going to be great moving forward here. And honestly, Jordan Mason is down into drop territory for me right now. The only reason I would say hold on to Mason is because Aaron Jones has been a little bit fragile this year. But I mean, 72% snaps to Jones compared to 23% for Mason. 75% of opportunities for Aaron Jones, including 6 targets and a goal line dive touchdown. So it's going to be Aaron Jones first, and Jordan Mason is the breather back. Jordan Mason had his opportunity, and he squandered it. He looked bad, and clearly the team feels the same way. In terms of the wide receivers, we saw 23 targets between Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, but only 72 scoreless yards. Like I said, the passing game needs work. This offense needs work in scheme to get these guys the ball. Obviously, they're trying to with 23 targets between the 2 of them, but it needs to be better. On the Baltimore Ravens side, not a crazy game out of Lamar. Less than 200 yards and a touchdown, but I mean, 17 for 29, efficient. 9 carries for 36 yards. Didn't need to do much with his legs, but did enough. What drove me crazy was Derrick Henry here, 23 opportunities, 83 or 84 yards. And you're like, okay. And then you're like, there was a goal line touchdown. Who'd it go to? Justice Hill came in for his 1 carry, a 1-yard goal line dive. What are we doing? Why is Justice Hill getting the goal line dive? It's not like Derrick Henry had a 90-yard run to get us to the 1-yard line, and then it was like, oh, he needs a breather. No. Why was Justice Hill getting the goal line dive? It worked, obviously, so good for the Ravens. But damn it, man, I wanted those extra 6 points. Derrick Henry's gonna be fine. He's been getting 20+ opportunities the past 4 games. That's going to continue to roll here as the Baltimore Ravens continue to roll. Cleveland up next, so going to be a tough matchup for Henry, but it's the Ravens. If anyone can go ahead and succeed on the ground against Cleveland, it's going to be the Ravens. Jets after that, Cincinnati after that, Pittsburgh after that, Cincy after that. That's 4 or 5 good matchups in a row right there, especially for Derrick Henry, who does best when the Baltimore Ravens are playing with a lead. So I expect a big run here from Derrick Henry in the near future. Zay Flowers, the only wide receiver to care about here. 6 targets, 4 for 75 in the air, and then an extra carry. Just no touchdowns here, so you're not seeing the boom. I did call my espresso shot of the week was Isaiah Likely, top 12 tight end. 5 targets. Look, as crazy as it is, he's near 50-50 with Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, 63%. Snap share, 57% for Isaiah Likely. He's been on the field, but the touchdowns continue to go Mark Andrews' way. That's how it's going to be. It's how it's going to be all year. Going to keep rolling here. Cleveland and the Jets. The Jets won with special teams plays. 2 special teams touchdowns paved the way. Justin Fields is god awful. 11 pass attempts, 6 completions for 54 yards with an interception. How are one of your 11 pass attempts as an interception is just unbelievable, and only 7 carries for 28 yards. Justin Fields, if the matchup is fine and you want to feel spicy, you can start him and pray that he has something. But with no Garrett Wilson, I'm not even doing that. Breece Hall is really the only Jet that I care about. 21 carries, 1 target, 125 yards, and a touchdown here for Breece Hall. That's all you got to worry about on the Jets. Mason Taylor was my tight end start of the week. 2 targets. If Justin Fields is the quarterback and the floor or the basement is 11 pass attempts. I mean, we've seen 3 games now. 3 games with Justin Fields playing where he's been under 15, 20 pass attempts. That's inexcusable. You can't start that in fantasy football. On the flip side, Judkins had an all right game. 25 opportunities, 85 yards. That's gonna be the floor. That's gonna be the consistent floor here with Judkins and that volume. Jerry Jeudy had 12 targets, which we've seen consistently, but he finally did something with it. 6 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Dylan Gabriel pushed the ball downfield a little bit this game, so that was nice to see. We might see that a little bit more here, and Jeudy might sneak his way into a flex play on a weekly basis with those kinds of targets. But the real fun part here is going to be picking which tight end you're going to start on a weekly basis. Harold Fannin out-targeted David Njoku 7-2, but David Njoku, 2 catches, got the tutty. Harold Fannin, 4 catches, 44 empty yards. As long as both these guys are going to be healthy, it's going to be a gross game of roulette that you play on a weekly basis of which one do I start. If you got it, I'd go Fannin, just for some explosiveness and more targets. But at the end of the day, it's going to be gross. It's going to be Seattle backfield guessing game on a weekly basis here. Moving along to the game of the week, New England versus Tampa Bay. New England goes into Tampa and takes care of business. Drake May, Himothy, baby. He is Himothy. 270 in the air, 2 tutties, and not too much on the ground here. We had seen some consistency there where he was getting 20+ rushing yards. We had 2 games of over 50 yards rushing. Came back down to earth, but he didn't really need it. He got it done in the air. And Treyveon Henderson, the real story of this game, Treyveon Henderson, explosion. We had no Ramondre. Antonio Gibson out with the ACL injury. We had Terrell Jennings in there who was doing kind of a split with Henderson at the beginning. We did see it. But then Jennings goes down with an injury, and it's just the Henderson show after that. 14 carries for Henderson, 2 big touchdowns. It finally happened. We saw exactly what we saw in college translate to the NFL here. 147 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and an extra target in the air. I'm hoping that this is eye-opening for Vrabel. I'm praying to the fantasy football gods that Vrabel says it's Henderson's time, especially with an injured Ramondre Stevenson. Just let Stevenson get healthy for the playoff push. Let Henderson get warmed up. Let him get hot down the stretch here. Jamie, I see that. 22 miles per hour. Hot. Dude is fast. That's what he is. Like, we saw the kickoff return in preseason. We knew this was happening. Like, what could happen? We just hadn't seen it. Hopefully, this is the case moving forward. Like I said, I don't expect with Stevenson back, whenever he does come back, that it's going to be all Henderson still. I think that it's going to be a decent split. But if we can get Henderson these 15 opportunities a game, 12 to 15 opportunities a game is all that Henderson is going to need to take him to the house. This offense is cooking right now. The wide receiver is still tough to trust because, I mean, we saw Kyle Williams, where my Kyle Williams truthers at, my Dynasty guys. We saw Kyle Williams take his one catch, 72 yards to the house. Exciting to see that snap share start to creep up here. Where was it at? Kyle Williams, 57% snap share, so that did creep up. That is a good snap share, right around what Diggs has been getting. Honestly, Diggs hasn't been the most on-the-field guy, but he's still the most consistent, in my opinion, on this team. 8 targets for Diggs, 46 and a tutty here. Mac Hollins at 10 targets, but he's just another guy where I don't trust it on a weekly basis. But if you're in a deep league and you need a guy, Mac Hollins is perfectly fine there. 106 yards for him this week. And then Hunter Henry, unusable this year. One catch for 9 yards. Jamie, that was the first time a Patriots rookie had 2 50-plus yard runs. I mean, I believe it. I believe it was the last time that the Patriots when's the last time the Patriots had explosiveness? We haven't seen that in a while, and it's good to see here. On the flip side, Baker Mayfield back to his healthy ways, 273 and 3 for him. Didn't come away with the W, but I mean, Emeka Egbuka, that dude, 115 and a tutty on 13 targets. And then Tess Johnson, we talked about him earlier, is just becoming a steady target for Baker Mayfield, and that's what you need. No Godwin still, don't know when he's coming back. No Evans, don't know when he's coming back, and no Bucky. It's going to be Egbuka, it's going to be Tez, and it's going to be Cade Otton getting peppered with targets on a weekly basis here. Rashad White and Sean Tucker have been a fine split in the backfield, but they're just not. That's not how this offense is going to run. This offense is going to run through Baker, very similar to what we're seeing in Los Angeles, where if they're up, White and Tucker will get the run. If they're close game or they're down, it's going to be Baker. We saw that 43 pass attempts this week. Cade Otton, another tight end target if you are dealing with an injured Kincaid. If you're trying to come up with a contingency plan for Gadsden, 38% rostered on Sleeper right now, and 12 targets this week. He's got in the past 4 games, 6 targets, 9 targets, 5 targets, and 12 targets. Just been consistent. He hasn't gotten the touchdown, so the ceiling isn't quite there. But if you just need base level floor play at tight end and you don't want to take a goose, Cade Otton is a great option here. Moving on to the afternoon games, we had Seattle smack up on Arizona. Brissett looked rough, but he got his garbage time business in. Marv was a factor in that with 12 targets, but the ugliest 12 targets you have ever seen. 3 catches for 33 yards, and those didn't come until he had 1 catch or 2 for 11, and then his 12th target was a 20-yard touchdown in garbage time. You got to stick with the targets here with Marv, but it can look ugly. I think Seattle's defense is honestly just that good. So the fact that we're seeing 12 targets for Marv is fine. We'll see better games ahead here. McBride smashed the tight end 1 moving forward. I don't care what week it is. I don't care what the matchup is. Even if it's a bye week, Trey McBride, tight end 1 on a weekly basis. We had a little bit of a scare with Jackson Smith and Jigba. He left early with a concussion. He got all of his work done early, though. He had 86 yards and a tutty early on. And then he came back a little bit later and tacked on 1 more catch to finish with 93 yards and that touchdown. Not concerned. I think that this game was just in hand and they didn't want to risk JSN getting a concussion and missing next week, the important game against the Rams. Rashid Shaheed only saw 34% of the snaps, and that's to be expected, honestly. He had, 3-4 days of practice. But I think next week with the Rams, they're going to have him up to speed with a full week of practice here. And then the backfield back to a 50-50 split once again. What the hell, man? And every time that I start to flip-flopping. I'm saying, every time I flag plant Charbonnet or Walker, I flipped the past 2 weeks, and I've been wrong both times. So I'm back to just throwing my hands up and being like, whatever the hell you guys want to do at running back, you do. We even saw George Alani get a guest appearance on the goal line, get a touchdown stealing it from one of these guys. I don't know. But yeah, so that's really it. We should see Trey Benson back soon. So I don't know if you're going to stick with a running back here in Arizona. I would stick with DeMarcado. He's the big play guy. I think he's going to be mixed in the most once Trey Benson comes back. The Rams also, we had 2 NFC West matchups this week. The Rams smacked up on the Niners as well, and we get the winners of these 2 games are going to have a great matchup next week in Week 11 here. Matt Stafford for MVP, baby. That's my vote. If I had a vote in it, Matt Stafford would be my MVP this year. He's been unstoppable. This is his 3rd game in a row with 4+ passing touchdowns. Just the guy cannot be stopped. We've seen so many years where Stafford gets him down to the 1 and Kyron does the goal line dive, and we're not seeing that this year. We're seeing the goal line fades to Devontae Adams, to Puka Nacua. We're seeing the play actions, slip outs to the tight ends. It's all coming together for Stafford. The only passing pocket QB that I think has a shot for MVP right now. We got Drake May out there, who is a mobile quarterback. We did have Baker Mayfield making a push early, but I think Stafford is the pocket QB who can do it this year. Kyron got his goal line dives back this week. As I said, he saw that in the past. We haven't seen it too much this year. But he got 2 of them this week, 73 yards and 2 touchdowns. Honestly, I was fading Kyron Williams again this year because I felt he was too reliant on those goal line dives. But here we are, week 10, and through week 10, and he's RB9 on the season with only 5 touchdowns. So he's getting it done even on the ground, even in the air. I think this offense is just too good. Mac Jones, similar to Jacoby Brissett, put up the garbage time stats with 319 and 3 on the game, but it was out of hand early. It was not competitive. B-Rob vultured the touchdown from Christian McCaffrey. That's fine. Christian McCaffrey will get it. We'll get it back to him. It is a little bit concerning that we've seen it a couple times in the past couple weeks now, but I'm not worried about CMC like I am Bijan Robinson. If I had to have a panic meter on either of those top running backs, Bijan would be a lot more panicky for me because that offense doesn't exclusively run through Bijan. CMC is this offense. He had 10 targets this week, 96 yards. CMC's fine. Juwan Jennings back into the weekly starter category for me. He had another 9 targets, 71 yards and a tutty. We've seen a couple consistent weeks out of Juwan Jennings now, and I'm back in. I had to see it. I had to see it with DJ Moore, and I had to see it with Juwan Jennings. Haven't seen it with DJ Moore consistently, but we got 2 weeks in a row here now where Juwan Jennings has found the end zone, and I think that that's going to continue here. We got Arizona, Carolina, and Cleveland coming up, so decent matchups for wide receivers here. And then George Kittle back to being George Kittle. If you panicked post-bye or a post-injury goose egg, shame on you. 9 for 9, 84, and a tutty, and that's just gonna be what we see here. Didn't talk about it at the beginning of the show with the news, but we're waiting and seeing about Pearsall. He's supposed to be back on Wednesday. We've heard that I don't know how many times, but I want my Purdy Ricky back. I want Purdy back. I want Ricky Pearsall back. I need those guys. I need those guys back in this lineup to keep this San Francisco offense chugging. But we'll see. We're waiting and seeing on those guys. All 3 of the afternoon games were just bad teams getting beat up right now. Detroit beat up on the hapless Washington Commanders right now. Everyone ate for Detroit. We had spectacled MCDC call of plays, and dude was cooking. 320 and 3 for Goff. 172 yards for Gibbs and 3 touchdowns. Montgomery had 71 yards on 15 carries and a 2-point conversion. Jamison Williams, Waymo, 7 targets, 119 yards and a touchdown. We needed to see Waymo get involved. And if MCDC is calling plays moving forward, Waymo is going to be a back into weekly flex category because we haven't seen the consistency, but we've also seen the inconsistency with the play calling. If we get some consistency in the play calling and we see these targets for Waymo on a weekly basis, he's back to must start. Amon-Ra St. Brown got his 58 yards and a tutty. And then Laporta didn't even kill you. 5 for 5, 53 yards. No shocker, you start your Detroit Lions. All of them. You start the Waymo and Monty, you can go ahead and hem and haw on, but I'm going to stick with them. I think that the weekly ceiling is worth the risk every time. On the Washington side, I don't want anyone here. Bill Krosky-Merritt is into drop territory with me, with Chris Rodriguez coming on. And it's back to a three-headed monster. It's a three-headed monster. We saw it at the beginning of the season. Bill had his chance. He could not seize the opportunity. So we're here in three-headed monster territory with Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols, and Bill Krosky-Merritt. You can drop any of these guys. I don't want any of them. I don't think they're going to be consistent in any way, shape, or form. Pass catchers are a mishmash of just nothing, with Marcus Mariota throwing the ball to them. If you got to start someone from this Washington team, it'd be Deebo Samuel, and I'm not looking to do that either. Ever since the heel injury, there's been no explosiveness. He got a touchdown this week to bail you out, but 29 yards on 5 targets ain't it. And that's Washington. That's gross. Jaden, appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you checking out the show again this week. Love to have you. Love having everyone in here. Bring your questions. I'll always answer. Appreciate you. The last game I'm going to go over here, as I am pushing time. I'm pushing it today. I told you I had a lot going on. Had a lot on the sheet. I just kept writing. This week was fun. Week 10 was crazy. For the 2 dud games on Thursday and Sunday, on Monday night, we had a lot of good games out there, a lot of fantasy implications. So this was a fun show sheet, fun show to do. To close out the show, though, we have the Chargers whopping up on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Herbert, nothing crazy, just a consistent game here. 220 and a touchdown in the air, and then another 5 carries for 19 on the ground. Dude's just been consistent. He's been consistent. He hasn't been, breaking fantasy football. He hasn't been breaking the MVP race, but he's been steady. You can trust him. Ladd McConkey was the main receiver once again here. 6 targets, 4 for 6, and 107 and a tutty. Again, Gadsden left early with what was feared to be a knee injury, but we found out is a quad injury. And we saw with that, Quentin Johnston was up at 10 targets. Wasn't able to connect on anything deep, so just 5 catches for 42 yards. But I think that Johnston is consistently the number 1 outside receiver on this team. Ladd is going to move around all over the place, and he's going to get his spots picked, and he's going to be wildly efficient and going to be the big threat. But I think Quentin Johnston is going to be consistent here. I think you got to stick with it, especially with Gadsden dealing with an injury. I think we see a lot of Ladd. We see a lot of Quentin Johnston. And if the team is up, we've seen it consistently now where the Chargers are winning. They have no problem handing the ball to Kamani Vidal over and over and over again. And another good game from Vidal here, 25 carries, 95 yards, and a tutty with another target for 13 yards. It's been red light, green light here. We got 22 opportunities against Miami, 20-plus fantasy points. Next game against Indy, they're down. They're playing a close game, 14 opportunities, 5 fantasy points. Then they're playing Minnesota, where they're up big, 25 opportunities once again, 19 fantasy points. And then last week against Tennessee, it was a weirdly close game against Tennessee. We only saw 13 opportunities and 3 fantasy points. Pittsburgh, they're up early. So it's really like what happens in the game dictates Kamani Vidal, and he has no choice in the matter. So if they're up big, they will feed him. If it's a close game or they're down, they will not feed Kamani Vidal, and you will be left scrounging for scraps here. They're going to Jacksonville this week, and we just saw Jacksonville get lit up by Houston. So I think that the Chargers are going to go in and take care of some business, and we could see another big week out of Vidal here going into the bye week. That is all that I got, though. Honestly, prescriptive for that. My take on that. Stick with Vidal. He's been consistent. He hasn't been consistent, but I think that you have to stick with him because you see here the opportunity is available. The opportunity is there. The touchdown possibility is there, and we've seen big plays out of him too. It hasn't just been ramming into the back of the offensive line repeatedly. He has big play ability. So stick with Vidal until Hampton comes back, which might be post-bye in week 15. We'll see. Stay tuned. But no matter what, I'm starting Vidal this week against Jacksonville Jaguars. That is all that I got for today, guys. It was a big beefer of a show on 11/11 to kick off week 11. I appreciate everyone for coming by. I appreciate everyone dropping the questions all throughout. You guys are amazing. If you're in here, drop a like on the video. If you're watching this after the fact, go find or listening to this on whatever podcast listening app you are on, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Go to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you are liking the video there, please. And also be sure that you are subscribed to the Player Profiler Now channel to keep up with us every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. You can also keep up with all of my random thoughts as they spew out of my brain on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it, at @JOwens_FF. And I'm also working on getting back to the TikTok game at @JOwensFF over there. I will catch you guys on Thursday for the starts and sits.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.